What was something that happened in your school that caused a rule to be made? In the fall, it was always tradition for the seniors to steal as many pumpkins as possible from around town and write their class number in pumpkins on the front lawn of the school. Our grade stole so many pumpkins that local farms and families contacted police, and our school had to officially end the tradition in 2008. Texas A&M's annual bonfire got official sanction after 1935 after a farmer complained that student had stolen his entire barn for the pyre. The bonfire being official meant the administration could hand out axes and point students at trees the university wanted gone. The phantom stir. Every day, for some odd reason, someone in my school snitched on the floor or on the wall in the basement bathroom. They then made you have to scan an ID card to get into and out of the bathrooms. I still wonder to this day why anyone would do this. Someone snuck into the bathroom room during class, unscrewed the screws holding one of the toilets in place and stole it. It reappeared around a week later in the sports field, so they had to pass a rule not to steal toilets. MFS stole the goddamn toilet. Can't have Detroit. Girls decided that Friday would be a day to wear weird socks. They all came with colorful socks. The school forbid non-white socks the same day. Really? Seems like such a stupid, innocent thing to ban. Someone once lit a fire in a bathroom stall. The school shut all the bathrooms permanently unless you asked a teacher for permission. The boys complained, but the girls revolted once they realized how their periods would end up. Makes me think of how my middle school only had a 4-minute passing period. In these 4 minutes you had to basically walk straight from one class to the other. You only had time to access your locker if it was on the way, or during lunch. And backpacks weren't allowed, so you had to carry all your books and binders in your hands. They expected us in this insanely short amount of time to squeeze in all our bathroom trips, which were always crowded, or you had to get permission from a teacher. Having a regular pee-poop schedule would get you in trouble for going every day at the same time. Middle school was stupid. In middle school, a couple of jerks kept making fun of a girl because a tampon fell out of her backpack. Solution: we were banned from bringing feminine hygiene products to school. You had to go see a teacher to get one. The rule was gone in under a week. Why punish the poor girl for something the dudes did? Also, guys need to grow up, seriously. Plus, it's a really stupid idea to ban feminine hygiene products. Over the PA system, our high school principal read the following thought of the day during homeroom: a man is not a man until he kisses the lips that do not speak. After that, they had to be submitted to the secretary and approved. Up until then, you could just submit them by putting them in his in-basket. Our high school always had seniors do the morning announcements live over video. These two seniors always finished with a joke. One day the joke was, what did the vampire say to his girlfriend? See you next month. I believe that happened early on my freshman year. They didn't start allowing students to do announcements for 3 years and then they were pre-recorded. Took me a second to get the joke. That's pretty good. My class was the one that got all versions of Dodgeball banned for everyone. We invented a new version of Dodgeball that was a free-for-all in a field. There wasn't even really a way to lose or win. There was one ball and like 30-40 kids. Whoever had the ball just pelted the closest person to them as hard as they could, and everyone who didn't have the ball ran in and tried to take it. Inevitably people got hurt, but no one ever reported it because it was fun. Then one day the embodiment of Randall Weems got a bloody nose and the kid ratted out the whole recess group. There was an assembly and Dodgeball never happened again. I'm told that it's still banned to this day. Some 15 years later, my grade and the grade above us got Dodgeball banned at our middle school. Our two classes were really competitive, so Dodgeball was our monthly reward when we behaved. One of the guys in the grade above me threw the ball hard enough and in a weird enough way that he broke his arm from throwing the ball. So Dodgeball has been banned since that day, and is still banned 15 years later. People started a big fight where they started throwing bottles at each other, so my school banned bottles that contain more than 1 liter of water. Doesn't really stop anyone though. We had a kid put vodka in her water bottle, so we weren't allowed to bring water bottles to school at all. We were, of course, allowed to buy them from the vending machine. In elementary school, when silly bands, those shaped rubber bands you could wear as bracelets, were popular. Some kids wore so many up their arms that they had such poor blood circulation in their hands to the point where it was concerning. So, the principal banned silly bands. Silly bans is a silly ban. A kid from another school snuck in a class by climbing into the bottom floor window and then threw a trash can at the substitute in that class. He then tried to escape through the same window, but his pants got caught on the handle and he had to take them off. He was caught by security pretty quickly since he was the only guy walking down the street in his underwear. Anyway, after that we were never allowed to have the windows open. Not even on the second or third floors. Oh my, imagine being the security and seeing this random dude in underwear just wandering around. Man, I wouldn't stop telling this story to every single person I know. It's actually still kind of a legend at my school. I was lucky enough to have a sibling in the class he broke into. I didn't add this to the original post because it just sounds too crazy and wasn't totally relevant, but before throwing the trash can he yelled, "Give me your energy." The entire class raised their hands in the air. He then screamed at the top of his lungs and just effing threw that thing with the strength of 30 riled up teenagers. Rule made. Teachers to always allow kids to visit the toilet during class. Reason the rule was made. Math teacher misunderstands the meaning of urgent. A kid shits his pants mid-lecture. I live in the Alps and it used to snow a lot during winter times. Our school uses gravel, the one with the sharp edges, as road salt. Because of the snow, most of the younger students went out in the breaks to make big snowball fights. But one day somebody didn't pay attention to his snowball and he threw it with a bunch of stones in it at another player. The boy who got hit in the face and lost one eye because of a stone in the snowball. Now we are not allowed to let snowball fights happen anymore. Did anything happen to the kid who threw it? IDK man. I don't think he got punished badly. I think he just got like 1 week of Jamin Shafsabit where you just have to clean the classrooms and empty trash cans and scrub the tables, etc. He didn't do it on purpose. It was a bad accident. No more collecting rocks during recess. In first grade I started collecting rocks around the playground and in the tree line next to it. My friends joined in and soon other groups formed and suddenly we were all stealing these rocks from each other. Kids would even ride their bikes up after school to move them between gang hideouts. Sometimes the leaders would be invited to the other hideouts to negotiate treaties that would fail anyway. Eventually, the principal stepped in and told us no more of it, and at that point, I realized I started a series of gang wars. You've basically just described geopolitics by just talking about rocks. Impressive. I think I've talked about this on other threads, but here it goes. In first and second grade my friends and I used to catch spiders and bring them into school to show them off to each other and see who caught the coolest spider. Our teacher put up with it at first because we were good about not opening the containers we kept the spiders in while we were inside, and we stacked all the containers next to the door away from our stuff. That all worked well until I tripped while walking through the door. I landed on the pile of containers, which managed to open a bunch of them. Spiders scurried everywhere. An entire classroom of second graders screamed, and then bringing spiders in became an official rule. Whoops. One day in 8th grade a guy asked out a girl during lunch. She said yes and his whole friend group started clapping for him. Soon the entire cafeteria joined in clapping, even though 90% of us has no idea what we were clapping for. 3 minutes later the assistant principal comes in and lectures us for 10 minutes about how rude we were and how much trouble the school would have been in if someone from the district saw that. Clapping has been banned ever since. My high school had mass random clappings at least once a week, every week, for all 3 years that I ate lunch in the cafeteria al Mayo, and I suspect many other schools were similar. Me and another guy in class would make audiences start to clap at silent portions of theater plays, etc. We'd wait for the perfect opportunity, like the fading down of a song or a pause in someone's line, and try ever so slightly with not so audible claps and increase intensity if people joined in. There were about 2-3 wrongly timed applauses each time we were there. I had completely forgotten about this until now. Incredibly rude but so fun to a couple of 10th graders. Lived in the dorms freshman year and had a friend bring his drum set over to jam. Next year a rule state no large acoustic instruments. Example, drums. Next year, kid brings large electric drum kit with amplifier cranked up to 11. It's not acoustic. Dude jumped out the window in maths class. No jumping out of windows to waste class time. But any other reason is fine, right? Yeah, it's fine if you're trying to jump to your death. 2 kids were caught having sex in the bathrooms of the theater, which apparently was something that happened all the time. Those bathrooms used to be open all the time, but after that they made a rule that they would be locked during the day and only opened them for performances. It really sucked because those bathrooms were so much nicer than the regular ones and were always a nice quiet escape. We, theater kids, used to eat lunch in the lobby of our auditorium, as it was quiet, and the auditorium was more of a home. Then one day some chick went into the bathroom and literally ripped one of the small doors off. And the director stayed after rehearsal one day until like 1130 trying to attach a new door. I am kind of bent over so I can hold the bottom of the door and my director can use the power drill to put the screws in. And in comes our janitor, and she sees a 30-year-old man holding a power drill behind a bent over 17-year-old boy. Look on her face was priceless. People started using Google Hangouts on their laptops. Students chatted with each other and made video calls in classrooms until like 2 days later when the principal announced that using Google Hangouts was banned. I personally don't know why the tech department allowed Google apps to be on the laptops. Muffins were $1 NZD at my school, and so my friend would sometimes buy like 8 at a time since he was quite the unit. But then they made a rule where you can only buy up to 2 muffins at a time, which broke my friend, but to add salt to the wound, they bumped the prices to $1.50. Was a dark day indeed. Something similar happened at my school. There used to be a snack bar and everything was $1. Some kid kept going with $20. His mom flipped when she found out he was eating so many snacks, and then the snack bar closed down.